Hey, Buff Nation, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson here. Coming up this week in the Buffalo Stampede, we'll recap the Buffs' loss to USC in football with Coach Gary Barnett, silent reporter Andy Lindahl. We're talking soccer with Danny Sanchez, and ahead of the pre-nationals, we'll talk with Mark Wetmore about the CU cross-country team. That's coming up this week on the Buffalo Stampede.
Dimitri Stanley's going to take it to the house.
Place here is why he's one of the best linebackers in America. And there he goes! Touchdown! Right between the eyes from downtown.
It's a winner for the Buffs.
Ball is right in front. A couple of shot fakes to Steve Perry.
Mark Lewis, empty backfield, shotgun snap, takes, looks left, looks over the center, looks to the right now, throws it out there. Brady Russell, the grab, he's wide open. 40, 45, 50, down the sideline. Look at that big tight end go! Go, Brady, go! 15, 10, hit from behind.
That was a big play for the Colorado Buffaloes as Brent Lewis found the tight end Brady Russell for 65 yards. That set up a Colorado touchdown. But for the 15th time in as many games, the Buffaloes fall to USC 37-14. Hi, everybody. Welcome in to the Buffalo Stampede. Coach Gary Barnett, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. Well, what's the postscript on this one there?
Well,
Master?
that play is the biggest play we've had all year.
That's
by
right.
30 yards.
The longest play all season long was that one right there.
You know, I want to talk about the SC team because I'm telling you, that receiver was
Drake London.
Drake
About,
London,
number 15.
I mean, he put on a show out here, Mark. He was spectacular, and we had coverage on him. We were all over him, and he was just so strong. He's 6'5", you know, 210, 220, but his hands are so strong. He plays baseball at USC as well, but I'm telling you, he was a one-man show out here today. He single-handedly beat the Buffs.
Yeah, he was awful impressive. I think they've got some very, Trigg was another one, Epps, another big body they've got where they would just throw it up. And it wasn't bad coverage by Colorado. That secondary was actually pretty good for Colorado.
They had nobody wide open.
Sometimes great plays are made by great players. That's what we were saying.
Yeah, there's not much you can do about it. And we were in coverage, but we gave up more yards rushing than we have been. We've been holding, you know, that was a team we gave up almost 160 yards to that we've been holding opponents to 117. And it's a team that hasn't rushed the ball very well, but they did rush it pretty well against us.
Is that the byproduct when you're on a 4-game losing streak like the Buffs are? That starts to wear on other aspects of the football team, doesn't it? When the offense is producing in this case, it starts to wear on other areas, doesn't it?
I'm going to say yes, but you know, I don't know the dynamics of this team because I'm not in all the meetings, so I don't know. You know, I heard some of the guys talk afterwards, and Brady Russell in particular, and you know, I think they feel like they're really trying. I think they're not going to get down with all of this stuff that maybe you and I would get down with. So hopefully not. I don't know if there's any way to really assess it, though.
Sure. 37-14 was the final. Here was head coach Carl Durrell after the ball game at Folsom Field.
Disappointing day, unfortunately for us. We felt we had a good plan going into it, and we didn't even come close to getting the level of execution that we were expecting. But the problem was we struggled. You know, we struggled even on defense today. It was both, though. You know, obviously we've had most of our issues been mostly offensively driven. You know, there were some things that we unfortunately couldn't create the continuity and the efficiency that we needed. We had a couple of scoring drives, which was good, but you know, we had other opportunities to really do some positive things, and we didn't do it. And it wasn't just Brendan. You know, they hardly pressured us, and yet he was under pressure a lot. You know, they had just normal 4-man rush, and he was under pressure a lot. So it wasn't just about Brendan. So we were some issues in protection. It was an issue with our run system. But right now, there's so many things that we need to fix right now, you know, on both sides of the ball. I thought defensively there were some positive things, but we got to get back to work. A lot of work to do, a lot of things to shore up. There's a lot of different areas, as you guys well know, and we'll get back to work.
That's the head coach Carl Durrell after the Buffaloes fall to 1-4 in the season, 4 straight losses, 0-2 in Pac-12 conference play. Still have never beaten Southern Cal. All right, let's talk about kind of the elephant in the room. It's the offense. The numbers just continue to be what they're. A great coach once told me years ago, After 4 or 5 games, you know what a team is. It was this guy right here. All right, we're 5 games deep. The numbers haven't changed.
Well, I mean, we were exactly what we were going into the game. Yeah. I mean, we rushed. Our total yards is about 235. We've been about 239. We did throw the ball with a little, only because of one play.
That's right.
Okay. I mean, we had 160 yards, but that was because of one pass play. Yeah. Did we even break 100 yards? You know, our first downs, 1 of 10 or 1 of 11.
1 of 10 on third downs. That's right. Yeah.
We gave up 5 sacks, 7 tackles for a loss. So, you know, as I look at all that, it's not just a quarterback issue. It's an offensive issue, and the offensive line. We didn't have great blocking. You know, we rushed for less than 100 yards. That's the first time that's happened. We've been hitting it for 154. So it's an offensive issue, and that's what has to be addressed. And you got 2 weeks, and you need to take a week and really assess it. I mean, you've got to be brutal and hard on yourself as you examine this, and then you got to make a decision as to which way you need to go. For me, this would be like at the halftime of the game. I don't care what we've just done. Okay, what's it going to take for us to win a game? And then look at it, make a decision, go arm in arm, and get after it that way.
We've talked a lot of times on our broadcast about an identity. What's the identity of this football team? And I asked you this in our post game on radio on the Colorado Football Network. I'll throw it. Can you change an identity in the middle of the season?
Well, that's a good question. I think if you think you need to, then yes, you can. Yeah. It's when you don't think you need to is when you can't get it done. But because if you make a decision and set a goal to go get it done, then you'll get it done more than likely, or at least you'll take steps in that direction. So will they get it done this year? I don't know, but they can certainly create an identity from this point on and decide that's what they're going to do and game plan around it and practice around it.
So the Buffaloes lose 37-14 to Southern Cal. That's the coach, Gary Barnett. Our solid reporter, Andy Lindahl, will join us next here in the Stampede.
5.5 to play the third. Lewis to throw, sets, looks, rifles his one left side, reaching up, making the grab. Touchdown! Touchdown, Colorado! The freshman Chase Penry with his first college touchdown of 7 yards.
That's one of the 2 touchdowns the Buffalo scored. Their 37-14 loss to Southern Cal here at Folsom Field, back in the Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, Andy Lindahl, our sideline reporter. By the way, Chase Penry, how about that? That was his first college touchdown right there as he took that pass from Brendan Lewis. Well, second verse, same as the first, right? I mean, yeah. You walk out of this thing kind of feeling the same way we have each of the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, another day where the offense just didn't have it going, and I'm not quite sure why, because they showed signs of getting it going. You got the turnover, led to the momentum, led to the kind of electric, the juice you needed into things. Got a touch, 1 yard run by Deion Smith. Yeah, the building came alive. You talk about the highlight we just showed, and the corner was just over there from where we're standing. Nicest throw I've seen from Brendan Lewis this year. I mean, on time, confident delivery, knew what he was going to do. You could tell in the kid's body language from the moment he hit his last step in the drop back, this is where I'm going. He threw it there. It was ahead of the corner. Somehow, some way, and I'm sure they're doing it. Like, if we can see it enough to talk about it on these little shows, Mark Johnson, you know the coaches have picked up on it. Yeah. But there's times, as you know from the sideline, I try to roll on some of the plays, and you can just see, okay, he's about to come out of his break. If we could just get Brendan Lewis to throw it as the cut is being ready to be made, instead of like when he wants it done. He wants the route done. I don't know how you change that. Well, but if they can, you see the kid's got something to him.
Well, that's just the thing. And anybody who covers football or has been around football, played a game of football, you know, quarterbacks throw guys open. If you throw when the break happens, when he's open, it's too late by the time the ball gets there. And I think that's the thing that's so frustrating for fans right now, is you watch this team and you see a flash every once in a while. You have to throw it to Brady Russell. Well, in fact, 2 of them are Brady Russells. You got the one to Chase Penry, and you go, okay, there's it, there it is. And then you don't see it for a while. And the inconsistency, and is it too simplistic to boil that down to, well, he's a young guy trying to learn? That seems a little too simplistic for me.
Well, it does, because you see some young guys come in here and they're just good at it right away. So that's really the jigsaw puzzle that is Brendan Lewis right now. I don't know. The chicken and the egg, we talked about it plenty with Coach. Can you get the run game going? I honestly, I think it's tough for the run game because guys are up and they are coming and they're not worried about the ball going over their head. You got to cause a little bit of that concern, I think, before the run lanes open up. I don't think it was any coincidence that their best run came after the touchdown drive where Brandon Lewis threw his best 2 passes of the day.
That's right.
And then the next thing you know, Jarek Broussard comes out, finds a little bit of room.
Buffaloes end up falling 37-14 after the ball game. We heard from Brady Russell.
Yeah, there was a lot of growth. I mean, both the first play of the game and then the real long one, both of those, I was the check down. I was the last person for him to look at. So he's progressing through and he's finding people and he's keeping his eyes downfield when he's moving around in the pocket. So that was a big plus to see from him. And man, I can't believe I got caught from behind. I thought I was running, but and I wasn't thinking too much. I was just running until I got tripped up.
I can say the linebacker did not know he was that fast. He started running. He was like, uh-oh. Definitely, I think the bye week timing is crucial right now because we're not where we want to be, and our headspace isn't where it needs to be. So we understand how important this bye week is going to be. So we're going to take the rest, but also we got to hammer the details in.
I'd say the vibe in the locker room, it's still good. It's just it's kind of the older guys. They're trying to bring the young guys along with them because we've been through some of these kind of things. So like Isaiah, me, Nate, Makai, Carson, those kind of guys, they're just trying to keep people's heads up, and we still got a lot of great players and we still got a lot of capability. We just need people to understand that they're a lot more capable than they think they are right now.
There's certainly 2 of the leaders that Andy talked to in the locker room after the ball game. I'll say this, those 2 guys, you talked to both of them afterward, maybe this team doesn't have as many veteran leaders as it needs, but you've got one on either side of the ball with those 2 guys, and they've got the right attitude right now.
Yeah, you do, and like Brady Russell, his energy after the game, it was where it needed to be, and he said, sometimes I fake this because I've got to give off the right attitude, tone, aura, however deep you want to get.
You got to put out the vibe? Is that
got to put out the vibe from the Dumb and Dumber. Brady Russell will keep guys' energy up. He talked about being a good locker room guy. Coach talked about it after the game. Somebody else has just organically got to figure out, I need to do what he's doing because this can't be something miserable. This is college football, man.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun. You need to go out there and have some joy in the work. They don't have that right now. I'll tell you a story. It's a little off color, but I'll tell you the story. Mark Schlereth had told me one time that he had chatted with Aaron Rodgers prior to the Super Bowl where the Packers beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah. Rodgers said the coaching staff was just grinding on him, so Mark told Rodgers, just do something stupid to get a laugh going. Yeah. Rodgers came coming out in just the skivvies the next day for practice. Everybody laughed. They had a good week. They went on and won the Super Bowl. Maybe somebody G-rated needs to come out, though, and break the tension in the room and just get them having fun again, Mark, because they're not having fun right now.
Next game I'm going to do that in the broadcast booth. Just show up for the rest of you fellas in my skivvies. That'll be a lot of fun.
It's better than me on the sideline. You'll at least maybe get away with it.
All right, the bye week. Chance to work on things. And boy, they got work to do.
They do. I thought Nate Landman put it best. He said, let's get back to playing Buff football as we know it. I think this is a chance for the guys to define what is Buff football, whether it's the players or the coaches. But you need to decide we're not going to be taking losses like this anymore.
So the Buffaloes have a bye week next week, and then a week from Saturday, they will entertain the Arizona Wildcats here at Folsom Field, looking for win number 1 in Pac-12 conference play. He's Andy Lindahl, our silent reporter. We'll take a time out here in the Buffalo Stampede. Big weekend of volleyball and soccer. We'll talk about it next here at the Stampede.
Sacrifices herself. The deflection header from Schartz is in. High ball from the corner. Sinead Hopcroft score it for Hannah Schartz. All that they're waiting on. So now the Buffs with Sinead Hopcroft. 1-1 score, 2-1 score. Hopcroft buries it after the whistle against Washington. Up go the Buffaloes, 2-1 in the 31st minute.
Well, the Colorado Buffaloes get a split last week, taking on the Washington Huskies, the Washington State Cougars. We're going to talk a little soccer with head coach Danny Sanchez. You just saw the 2 goals and a 2-1 win over the Huskies there. Welcome to the Buffalo Stampede. That was a good weekend in some respects. Let's go back and kind of touch on that first game with Washington. 2-1 victory by the Buffaloes.
That was a good result. Last year we went to their place twice, the COVID year back-to-back, and probably got lucky to get a draw out of one of those 2 games. They were in the Sweet 16 last year. So, it was a great start for us, which we've actually been having early in the season. A great serve from Sinead, and Hannah Schartz does her thing and gets the goal up 1-0. And then we draw a penalty, and Sinead buries that. So 2-0. We let them back in the game at 2-1, but the second half I thought we defended really well. It's a tough team. Well, every team in the Pac-12 is a tough team, but it was a very good result for us on Thursday at home.
Yeah, there are no kind of off weeks in the Pac-12 right now, the way everyone's playing soccer. Sinead Hopcroft continues to be a great story for this program.
Yeah, and it's actually your birthday today.
Yeah.
So,
well, happy birthday.
But yeah, no, she's really turning it on, playing with an energy and a fire, never tired. Playing a lot of different positions and roles for us, and we're asking her to do her a lot, and she's responding.
Well, you say that, and the one thing that I've kind of seen with Sinead, as I've talked with her and also talking with folks around your program, she's a high IQ soccer player, isn't she?
She's experienced. We don't like to call her old, but we call her a veteran because she's been around for a while, since she's come over from England. So, but she has the mindset she's going to be a pro in January. So she's kind of really put herself in a position to really develop her game, like you said, on the field, off the field, how she carries herself. She's a great example for the team.
Up to this match here, kind of how have you felt about your team offensively, the way of exercise things?
I think offensively we've been okay. Sunday was a little disappointing. We'll talk about that, but but we're still kind of leaking goals a little bit. So we'll have to get that sorted out, especially coming into next weekend. But offensively, we've been pretty diverse.
Now we're talking soccer, but it was a big weekend for the volleyball squad as well, and we caught up with Maya Tabron after one of the matches.
So we started out this weekend on Friday. We had, unfortunately, a loss against Oregon on Friday. We had a great crowd out here. It was our Dig Pink game, so everybody was wearing pink. And unfortunately, it was a loss, but we played really well. We kind of had a strange week, but our team really just came together as a group and pushed each other through it, and we worked really hard that game, played through the 4 sets and everything. So we came back today. We had an early kind of morning yesterday, early practice and film, and we just came out strong. Again, we came together as a team, and were able to take Oregon State out in 3 sets, which was really nice and kind of a good pickup after Friday. Against Oregon State, I would really say we just kept the pressure on them. If we had an error, we would just come back next point and say, hey, leave it in the past, move on. We were really in the huddles talking to each other, supporting each other really well, and we really followed our game plan that our coaches told us about with blocking and serving and everything like that. So all that together just helped us put the win against Oregon State.
All right, so hearing a little bit about the volleyball squad coming off a split over the weekend as we continue with soccer, talking with Danny Sanchez, head coach of the Colorado Buffaloes. All right, we talked about the victory over Washington. Now let's go back 2-0. You guys end up falling to Washington State. That's a tough matchup, isn't it?
Yeah, they're undefeated in the league. They're 9-1-1. We played well the first half. We created quite a few chances. Very good game. We gave up a goal from nothing in the second half, which was disappointing, and that kind of was the game. They press you, they get numbers behind the ball, and disappointing. But at the end of the day, like I said, we didn't do enough for 90 minutes to get a result. So we just have to get regrouped and get ready for the LA schools this week.
You played pretty well though in the first half, especially defensively.
Yeah. No, we played well. We had a lot of corner kicks. We were creating chances. The keeper made 2 great saves. Either one of those goes in is probably a different game. Yeah. Hindsight. But we're going to choose to pick the positives out of it, and the positives were we did play well against a good team, and they're number 1 in the country with going goals against. They've only given up 3 goals in 11 games, so we knew it'd be a challenge. We just didn't do enough.
The one thing they never talk about coaches about regarding their schedule and how it unfolds, you've got a heck of a stretch coming up here. On the road against the LA schools this weekend, USC, UCLA. They might be the 2 best teams in the Pac-12. Then you got Stanford coming up. This is a heck of a stretch you got coming.
But it's great opportunities from an RPI side, from an NCAA tournament side. It's a great opportunity to show what we can do. So we're looking forward to it.
Does your team kind of relish those kind of opportunities or want to rise to the occasion?
I think when you play in those teams, and we have, I think, 14 of our players from Southern California, so we'll have a nice contingent there. So, they're excited to get back home and to be in front of their family and friends and see what they can do.
But again, the Buffs on the road this week in LA, USC on Thursday, and then over the weekend, they've got UCLA. Well, we're celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. And I know that is very important to you and very proud of your Hispanic heritage.
Yeah, my father came over to this country when he was 27 years old with a 4th grade education, very little English, knew one person. His brother-in-law lived in LA, and eventually got his high school equivalency, did some college, had a couple different jobs. But I think more importantly for him, it's the American dream. You put all three of his kids, my 2 younger sisters and myself, through college, and 2 of them are very successful in their careers, and one who's sitting here is moderately successful in his career, but
he's being modest.
Yeah, but I couldn't be more proud of my father. He's now a deacon in the Catholic Church. Yeah, I'm very proud of my heritage. When I was born, he was still a Colombian citizen, so I have dual citizenship.
Awesome.
So I always say I haven't decided what country I'm going to play for yet, but very proud of him and what he's done. Sometimes they always say, "Oh, you're proud of your kid." Well, I'm proud of my father.
Yeah. I hate to tell you this, but the longer you wait on that decision, the less likely you're going to play anyway.
Exactly. It might be over for me.
That's right.
Probably safe.
Good luck this weekend, Danny.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, Danny Sanchez, he and the women's soccer team on the road against the LA schools this weekend. We're going to take a break here in the Buffalo Stampede. When we come back, we're talking with Mark Wetmore from Cross Country.
featuring one of the all-time greats to ever wear the black and gold. Michael Westbrook played for the Buffs from 1991 to 1994. A two-time All-Big 8 wide receiver, he led the Buffs to a share of the 1991 conference title, 4 bowl appearances, and 4 finishes in the top 20 during his time in Boulder. Fans, please welcome back to Folsom Field, the newest member of the College Football Hall of Fame and a true Buffs legend. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome wide receiver, Michael Westbrook.
Well, the 9th Colorado Buffalo going into the College Football Hall of Fame last week was the NFF on-campus salute for Michael Westbrook, number 81, one of the great athletes you're ever going to meet and a wonderful human being. It's good to have him back on campus. An induction ceremony comes up in New York on December 7th. Back in the Stampede, time to talk a little cross country. One of our favorites, Mark Wetmore, joining us here for a couple of minutes. Buffs coming off the Cowboy Jamboree in Oklahoma City. Was it in Oklahoma City or in Stillwater?
Oklahoma.
Yeah. How was that event for you?
B+.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's a positive.
Yeah.
It's a high grade for you.
The women did not face any very formidable teams, but the home team gave them a good run. Our women responded well. They did okay. The men faced pretty good teams, went in ranked 4th of the people that were there, and nearly beat the home team, Oak State. So it was a useful weekend.
It was good to see a couple of familiar names back. Emily Covert was back for you on the women's side.
Yeah, Emily's making very nice progress. She's had a year lost to being banged up with things, and then the COVID year, and she's our team leader right now.
Yeah. On the men's side, Eduardo Herrera was back in the field.
Yeah, Lalo's back. He's been here a long time, but all over the country, people have been in college a long time. So he had a real nice run where he needs to be in middle September.
You know, one thing I've always been fascinated with the way that cross country, and you talk about your sport, it's kind of a build, isn't it? You have one event after another, and you build towards the national championships.
Yeah, I feel a little sorry for sports like football, where it gets real important real fast.
Yeah.
With us, nothing matters really until the conference meet, and everything is put in pieces in place and moving around the board patiently.
So how do you judge that as a coach? In football or basketball, right, you're judging, okay, wins and losses. By this point, what do you look at in this process?
Well, by this point, we hope to have everybody healthy. We hope to have everybody ready to run. Our next meet, which you'll probably ask me about, is the pre-nationals down in Florida State.
Yep.
And we'd like to have the full A team by then. But from late August until middle October, you're being totally cagey the whole time.
Well, one thing we've got going here on the Buffalo Stampede when it comes to cross country, we've got a little correspondent on the women's side of the cross country team, and she had a chance to sit down with one of the men's team members.
Thanks, Mark. I'm here with Stephen Jones, who is on the CU men's cross country team. So, Steve, let's start by talking about the Oklahoma State race a couple weeks ago. You haven't raced for 2 years, so how was it finally getting back out there?
It's been a long time. There were a lot of nerves going in, but was able to calm down and just relax and have fun with it. The men got out really well. We did a good job of being able to cover each other and race really well as a team. And are able to take away from that race what we need to work on going into pre-nats and just racing better together.
So you finished 3rd on the team, 12th overall in the entire race, which is super impressive considering
Thank you.
You had NAU, Oklahoma State, Tulsa, some of the top teams in the nation. So were you kind of expecting that result? How did you feel going into the race?
I was thankfully able to kind of relieve the pressure by realizing I didn't have a target on my back since I haven't raced in so long.
Yeah.
And so I was able to really relax and just have fun with it and kind of see where I finished, and thankfully it was pretty high for the first one. I'm excited.
Yeah, like you said, for your first race in 2 years, I think that's a super impressive result, and I'm excited to keep watching you climb up there. So,
Thank you.
I guess last question, we have pre-nats coming up in 2 weeks. Yeah, pre-nats are at Florida State. You said you've raced there 6 times already. So having so much experience with that course, what is your race plan going in, and also what is your goal for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I've raced there previously because that was the South Regional course, and so I've raced there multiple times, and that was thankfully where I qualified for nationals for the first time. Race plan wise, I want to be able to go out hard since it's a relatively flat course and put myself in position early so that whenever everybody starts to make their moves, I can kind of make my moves along with them. And I think for the rest of the season, we're really focused on being able to win Pac-12s as a team and really show people what we're made of when it gets to the big stage.
Definitely. Okay, thank you, Steve. Back to you, Mark.
All right, thanks, Alicia. Continue talking with Mark Wetmore, cross-country coach here at the University of Colorado. Buffalo's now getting set coming up October 15th for the pre-nationals down in Tallahassee, Florida. A lot of times you think football when you think of that, but give us a quick thought about that course down there you're going to run.
Tallahassee's flat and fast. It's a track meet. One little hill. We have to change our thinking and how we approach our training the whole season, because it's called the pre-nationals because it previews the nationals, which are there in late November.
Yeah. Do you have a preference in courses like that? Do you like flat and fast? Do you like up and down, those kind of things?
People would think that we would like difficult, hilly mountain goat courses, but what we like are courses that take some thinking, some calculating and scrutinizing.
Okay.
Whether flat, fast, snowy, cold, we just like to have the opportunity to outthink other people.
I'm always fascinated by him because you think running, you just go out and run, right? There's a lot of planning that goes into this, a lot of strategy that happens in these races.
Yeah, none of which usually ends up making any difference, but we certainly do a lot of thinking about it. Yeah.
How about this one? This is an awful early start. Now, you're in the Eastern time zone. You're going to get this thing underway at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, Colorado time. It's very early and tough. Good. It's something we have to figure out better than our opponents. Get them up, get some kind of food in them, get them awake. It's part of the game.
Now, I'd imagine with the pre-nationals, everyone's previewing the course. This is going to be a pretty good field?
Yeah. About half the country comes to this.
Okay.
There's another big meetup at Wisconsin. A lot of people are very intrigued with, and half the country will be up there.
Okay.
But particularly on the men's side, this is really loaded.
So, which automatically the question becomes, why would you not, if you plan on being in the nationals, beat out the pre-nationals?
Yeah, I go to the pre-nationals every year, but there's other very accomplished coaches who don't. They're thinking you got to run no matter what and get good at dealing with it. So.
Well, good luck. That's coming up, by the way, on October 15th down in Tallahassee. Good luck to the Buffaloes.
Thank you.
All right, Mark Wetmore, cross-country coach here at the University of Colorado. That'll put a wrap this week in the Buffalo Stampede. I'm voice of the bus, Mark Johnson. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.